The following is a presentation of Morning Drive Media.
Broadcasting from the sweltering Studio City Valley location here, the Napzok Files studio. This is Ken Napzok. This is the Napzok Files. I have already, this clinking sound you hear, this is going to be a little bit of a whiskey show. And if you've listened to the Napzok Files long enough, you know that that's when my tongue starts to fly. Because I am bringing back a guest. So that means I don't have to be prim and proper.
No.
She's already been in the studio. You know her. She is Alicia Malone. From, well, you were from so many things.
Everywhere.
I know you, of course, most from the Schmoes Know movie show and the Schmoes Know network, where you've got Profiles with Scott Mance.
Yeah, so excited about that show.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
And we had Scott on last week, and that ball of energy that man is. Now I'm so happy to have you here alone. Last time we had your counterpart in crime, Maud Garrett, here, and we determined that, yes, you were born and raised in another country, and you came here, and you were brave, and I really do think you're brave for coming to this country with nothing but a smile and a dream, and I have so much respect for you. But now I just want to talk about movies with you.
Yeah.
Because you are
what I like to do.
You were the movie girl. Mm-hmm. It's Malone's Movie Minute. That's one of the things. Well, first of all, where else can they find you? You do so many things.
Oh, I wrote down a list of all the things that I do, and it's really long. Okay, so obviously the Schmoes Know movie show and Profiles, then AMC Movie Talk, and also AMCI Independent Spotlight, which is a new show that's just begun on AMC. Then there is Fandango. I do a lot of interviews for them. And then Hollywood Today Live, which broadcasts on Fox. I do a couple of segments a week. Malone at the Movies. Then
that's great, because that's getting to like a national.
That's like real TV stuff. That's really fun. And then I do New Zealand TV, the breakfast show. I do a live satellite thingy, whatever you call it, once a week. And then I work for several different Australian outlets. Studio 10 Australia, Today Show Australia, Event Cinemas, which I play in the little lobby while people are waiting to get their tickets, and that's where people see me the most. Foxtel Movie Show Australia, which is on cable. And then, of course, I do Tick Tick Boom with Maud.
Yeah.
And I also have my own website, malonesmovieminute.com. So I just never sleep, basically.
Yeah, you have no personal life then, right? Then?
No.
It's all that.
It's all work.
Wow. And today, I almost feel guilty that I drug you over here because you recorded Profiles. You were like at the Expendable 3 premiere. After this, you're like on a helicopter to New Zealand or something like that.
Yeah.
You've had like 3 or 4 outfits on in the day.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you can take the time out of that day to come here. But what all that means is you really know movies.
Yeah, I love movies. That is my obsession, and I feel so grateful that I've been able to make my hobby into my job. That's the dream, right?
It is. My hobby's watching professional wrestling. I've almost turned that into a job, but it hasn't hit yet. But as a kid, I talked into microphones in my room interviewing guests. So
yeah, I think we spoke about this, how back when we were young, we were both kind of doing things that we ended up doing.
Yeah, and we can start there with you. We talked about it last time you were on the podcast here, and we've talked off air too, so I might mix conversations. So if you're listening and you're like, wait, they didn't discuss that in an episode, that's because we've just been talking. But you were kind of, I kind of describe you as, well, because from what I know you now, but it's kind of like the polite Tracy Flick from Election.
Yes.
That's my vision of you. I don't know.
Very tenacious.
Tenacious.
Yep, that's right. I've told you this story before about me starting my own film club at school and then trying to campaign for people to get to watch these classic movies. I was so outraged. Little Alicia Malone, blonde and shaking her fist. Why have you not seen Breakfast at Tiffany's? Why have you not seen Citizen Kane? I can't believe you guys.
That's what I find to be the most adorable part of that story, is this young Alicia just like with a clipboard going, you need to watch these.
Come
on. It's kind of translated because I think you have a mental clipboard of what I need to watch.
Yes.
Having worked with me on Schmoes Now.
Having worked with you on Schmoes Now, I'm amazed by 2 things. One, how much you do know about films.
Okay.
Which I think is much more than people give you credit for.
Thank you.
Trivia
Thank you.
contest, you proved that. Number 2 is how many films you haven't seen when you work for a movie show. You've seen some films, obviously Star Wars, Inside Out, back to front.
Yeah.
But there's so many movies that I'm just like, how did you never see this?
Yeah, it's become a running punchline, and I always say, and the fans, when they first discovered it in late 2000. No, when I joined the Schmoes Know podcast during Phase 3 in late 2012, they didn't know it yet. And every time I had appeared on as a guest, when I was just a guest, it was as if something I knew. Star Wars, Hunger Games, Dark Knight Returns. It was something that, so I could be like, expert. And then stuff started
coming out.
Yeah. And it just, nope. And the fans turned on me a little bit. And George McCann, one of our most dedicated and passionate fans, one of the admin guys behind the Schmoville fan page, I remember he tweeted me, like, in all caps, George, if you're listening, I love you dearly. Entertain me to no end. All caps, like, how can you produce a movie show? And my answer was, and I still kind of have that answer, hey, you need someone like me to run a movie show. Otherwise, I'd be lost in the mushroom sauce, just kind of wanting to join the conversation.
Yeah.
Now I can be like, hey, Malone, you got 3 minutes to talk about this movie.
Yeah, right. Get to work. And that's me. I feel like I'm still that young, blonde, little shy gal shaking her fist. Why have you not seen these movies, Ken Napzok? Why?
We're going to have to do something about that then.
Yes.
Of the AFI Top 100, I think the 2007 list, I think I actually surprised myself. I was getting into the low 20s of movies I've actually seen.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad,
it's
right?
Not bad, but there, I'm sure, are some major holes of things you haven't seen.
I've seen Titanic, which somehow is on the list, but not like Casablanca.
What? You haven't seen Casablanca?
No.
Oh my gosh.
So this is not the beginning of a beautiful friendship, is what you're telling me. This is the beginning of you.
But see, you know everything. You know all the pop culture references from it.
That's that's why I win trivia contests. I just know stuff.
Yeah.
Even if I've seen it or not.
Well, I would love to sit down with you and show you some of these classic movies.
Okay.
And actually see them through the eyes of someone that's never watched it before. I think that could be really interesting.
That would be like almost a show.
Yeah.
We should pitch this some kind of a show or series.
I would love
maybe
that.
The fans of Schmoville who are listening can, because I know the fans of Schmoville have been rooting for me to watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, and they've been calling for a classic movie show.
Right.
So this could be perfect. We sit down with the AFI Top 100 list, or if you want to go something that's less hardcore, the Top 100 Hollywood Reporter list that came out recently, which includes things like Schindler's List and a few more updated things. Blade Runner, which I know you've seen.
I have not seen, as Scott Mance learned on air last week.
Yeah, it's a little more mainstream because the AFI list is great, but it's a lot of like Charlie Chaplin and kind of really
Which is
old
funny.
stuff.
I've seen some Chaplin stuff. I was in film school for a while.
Yeah.
Screenwriting, studied film and TV production, so I've seen a lot of that stuff. Mid-90s stuff I've seen a lot of because I was in school at that point, 94, 95. So yeah, absolutely around that time. But some of the older ones, I'll piss people off. I'll say anything prior to 72 doesn't exist for me.
Oh no.
And that's not entirely true. You know, I love Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, stuff like that. But here's the thing, like I'm a huge Simon and Garfunkel fan. So to me, the movie The Graduate has a special place in my heart. I've never seen it.
Oh, what?
I just love the music. But you're so busy. I will have to, this sounds scandalous, I will have to take you into my room and show you my movie collection.
Okay.
Your mind's going to blow. Because you're going to be like, okay, that's there. Why is there cellophane on it? I'll be like, I haven't watched it. Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
What? You haven't watched it?
It's still wrapped up in the package.
Oh my gosh, I just rewatched that the other week and it was fantastic. You own it. So you just need to take the cellophane off it. And some of these movies I haven't seen in a long time, so I would love to rewatch them as well. I think that could be really cool. So we could do like a little review.
We have like a little goal here then.
Okay.
We should call it like Alicia. This whiskey. This whiskey's hit me already. Alicia, my tongue is sticky. Alicia teaches Ken movies. Something like that.
Yeah. I'd love that because I also get a lot of tweets and a lot of Facebook requests from people just wanting me to give recommendations of classic movies that they should see, that maybe they haven't seen, maybe they feel bad that they haven't seen. So it's almost like film class.
Alicia's film class.
Yeah.
Ken's the first student.
Yeah.
100 films, 100 episodes.
That would be great because some of it I think you would really love and you'd be like, okay, now I feel like my life has changed and I wish I'd seen that earlier. Some things you'll probably be like, I don't get it. I don't understand why this is a classic.
I'm game for that. I'm game for that, and that's one of the reasons I brought you here today, other than to give you some whiskey, because you said you weren't sure about whiskey, and I wanted you to have
I like
this
it
whiskey.
now. You gave me some good stuff.
Yeah, it's very good stuff. It's very good stuff. Sorry, I'm also getting texts right now that are distracting me, because even then people are telling me what movies to watch. Well, I got someone
really?
telling me you should go see this movie. I'm not going to see it. One of the reasons I wanted to discuss this with you, and why I'm intrigued by it, and you and I talked, I centralize and egocentric size, if that's a word it is now, my movie-going experience. So while I can appreciate what the classics are, and how they change things, and I love talking to Scott Mantz about the history of the blockbuster and release dates. That guy's an encyclopedia for July 2nd, 1985.
Oh my gosh, he's Rain Man when it comes to release dates. You can throw any film at him and say, when was it released, and he will get it. I don't know how he does it.
Because I'll roughly say the year, whether I've seen the movie or not. Blade Runner, I knew was 82. This guy's like, oh, it was a summer day in July. The temperature was 85 degrees.
And he'll tell you what other films came out around the same time. It's fascinating. We talked about that time frame, that like Raiders and all these movies and The Thing and all E.T. That's the 5 weeks of like, wow, legendary 81.
stuff.
Good
81.
year.
Good year for film.
That's when I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you just revealed that age out there. Wow, listeners in Napzok Files are taking notes right there.
I know, and that's actually the most second Googled thing when it comes to me, is like Alicia Malone age. And then of course Alicia Malone feet, because they always do that.
Wow, that's the price of being a successful woman in this business. And oh God, boy, we could talk about that for a while. But the primary reason I centralize and make it all about me, because I'm a retired stand-up comic, and that's what we do. So when I go see a movie, it needs to really affect me on a deep personal level. And the movies I love with all my heart.
Yeah, I know.
I love them with all my heart. You and I talked about Shop Girl. I just watched that again last week for the 20th time, probably.
Which would be one that not a lot of people would have seen.
Right.
So that surprised me.
I'm a Steve Martin fan.
Yeah.
Have the book, the novella, read that, but that movie is me on some level. Even something as obtuse as Collateral, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
the reason being, Tom Cruise's character in that movie represents a very dark part of my personality, and I'm attached to him in that movie in a weird way. But also to Jamie Foxx's character, who had the island hanging in his cab, and his goal he never reached, and that was me for a long time. So that's what I look for, and I get to those deep parts in the movie.
Okay.
There's also good parts. You and I have a shared love of Amelie.
Oh,
one of my all-time favorite movies.
Definitely.
That melts my cold heart.
Whimsical.
Yeah.
My question to you, though, is how do you know that it won't affect you personally if you've never seen it?
That's a very good question. It sometimes comes down to topics or what I think the movie might be about. So this is the only quick example I can say, and this is related to TV shows, all right? One of my all-time favorite TV shows is Rescue Me. It's a Dennis Leary firefighter show. Love that show. It's as weird as it got at some seasons. Love that show. I am a trained first responder. I have a lot of friends who are firefighters, a lot of friends police officers. I work in a first responder type of industry. So I'm attracted to that theme, that story. Then you get there, and I'm a lot of like one of the characters, Kenny O'Shea, and that's who I identify. Then again, self-identify. Show came out around the same time that all my other friends who loved Rescue Me fell in love with Sons of Anarchy. Yeah. I haven't seen more than 2 episodes. Didn't get to me because I was like, it's about bikers, criminals. I'm not interested.
You're not into it.
So I use that example because that's the easiest thing I can understand. So I'll see a movie, you can throw a classic out there, I don't know, and I'll be like, it doesn't seem to be about people I'd like.
Rear Window, Hitchcock.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what, right, Rear Window, right. Is that the one he's in the wheelchair watching people?
Yeah.
Right, all right, so I know that.
Fascinated by voyeurism and the lives that we imagine of other people outside our window?
I don't know you well enough to tell you that, no, Alicia. Yeah.
That's an example.
It might be wrong of me. It is wrong of me.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought you here, because I'm so intrigued by movie people who know it, live it, love it. Look, music means so much to me as it means to a lot of people, but I used to work in the music industry as a journalist and radio guy, so stuff gets into my soul, and it's there, and I get it. And even though I might not like that band that you like, I get why you like it. In movies, I struggle. to understand while you might like a classic movie. I'm like, it was made in like 34, like they talk like this and I don't understand. And I check out of those movies.
Well, I think for me, I think we might have mentioned this last time, but just that my dad was such a huge movie buff.
Right.
So when I was very young, he used to drag me out of bed and be like, sit down and watch this movie, and this is why it's so great. So I think it was ingrained to me at a young age. And I also fell in love with the glamorous side of Hollywood, especially the 50s. I became so intrigued by Marilyn Monroe, and then I started reading a lot of books on Marilyn, and then you discover the two sides to her. I found that so fascinating. So then from there it just grew and grew and grew, and I see things like the AFI list as a challenge. Okay, I want to get to all of these movies. I want to know all these movies. And they just hold, I guess, more of a nostalgia for me than something like a Marvel movie. And I understand why people like Tiffany Smith love the Marvel movies, because for her, she grew up reading comic books, so that's the nostalgia value. For me, it's all about that glamorous age of Hollywood.
Look, I could totally get that then. I can get that aspect, but it's got to be something too where you it just means you're a better person than me.
No, it doesn't.
Because that means...
I think I'm similar to you with music. Like music, I like what I like, and I listen to the same things over and over and over again. If someone plays me something new, I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But I don't go out of my way to seek anything new outside of what I'm comfortable with. But movies, for some reason, I always have.
Okay, that's a very good example. That makes sense to me. I'm in my bubble, and I don't want to leave my bubble. And I'm not I'm not a huge Marvel guy.
Yeah.
I did love Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved it, but I also thought it was popcorn. I know you and Scott Mance were like the only two critics in the world who were like, okay, yeah, cool, next.
Like, yeah, it's fun, but not much of a plot.
Right. No, which I agree. It's
good time.
Yeah, good time. And I had a great time in it, but I didn't like the other ones. Cap 2 I liked.
Yes.
And
Avengers. So if you like Cap 2, then you'll enjoy the political thrillers of the 1970s.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to throw something out. All right, so all the
3 Days of the Condor.
Oh, okay.
Which starred Robert Redford, so it's kind of a nice full circle moment.
It is.
On Cap 2, they actually called it like 3 Days of Captain America as their working title, because it was a nice thing. All the President's Men. Have you seen that?
I've read the script.
Oh, you've read the script.
From screenwriting class. Haven't seen it. And I like historical stuff, so I could get it. So yeah, so what I guess the difference what I was going with while you're a better human than me is if I can't find my miserable self in the movie, I'm like, I'm not interested. Yeah. You are just open to the world, and this is probably why you've traveled a lot more than me. You've bravely come to a new country, and you have tattoos that say explore and
dream
all
and discover.
And my tattoos say go back to bed. But
isn't that funny? Because I use films as a way of escape. So really? I love nothing more than staying at home and watching a movie. And if I don't have to work, if I don't have to be anywhere, that's where you'll find me. Friday, Saturday night, I'm very happy. I know you guys tried to drag me out the other night to see Mark Ellis doing his stand-up, and I actually really want to see him, but I was like, yeah, but I can watch a movie, and I've got the bath and the bath's running, and I've got a glass of wine already, and that for me is an escape, because I get to go into someone else's life for a bit, even if it's horrific, because I know Maud doesn't like her safety bubble being
Maud has
popped.
a safety bubble,
yeah, so she doesn't like anything. I love something that rocks my world, something that makes me feel something different that I don't get in my day-to-day life.
Okay, now you're explaining it. Now I can get this. So you, again, where I see, well, I don't know that character because it ain't me, I'm out. You're like, this is a different point of view, a perspective, a journey I'm going to go on.
I would actually hate to see myself in the movies like someone like me.
Why?
I love to imagine myself as someone else, and that's what I love about movies. Imagine myself as Amelie for, an hour and a half and enjoy that. Or even imagine Schindler's List and just be transported into another time and place, even if it's horrific.
And kind of what would you do? How would you react? Or is that kind of connection?
It just completely transports you into another world. So any film that makes me do that, the films I don't like are the standard popcorn things like Transformers.
Look, no human should, but I know obviously $1 billion of proof that there is. And I get turning it off. I get relax and turn off your mind, relax and float downstream and just watch something. I get it.
Yeah, I want something that makes me think, something that makes me feel, something that you just want to talk about afterwards.
What are some of these? What are some of the biggest feels? All the feels you've had in movies that you didn't expect, or happy, angry, sad, tears, joy.
Yeah.
Tell me something.
Well, I'd say my top 5 favorite films would reflect that quite well, because Shawshank Redemption is number 1.
Okay.
Shawshank Redemption never fails to make me cry. Have you seen it? I don't want to give anything away if you haven't.
Parts of it.
Parts of it. So there's old Mr. Brooks, old Brooks, and he has been institutionalized.
Slightly familiar with that, yeah.
Yeah, 50 years in prison. He finally gets released, and he finds the outside world a lot scarier than the inside world. That little scene rocks me to the core every single time I see it. And then you've got something like...
Okay, hold on.
Makes me sad.
What connects you to that of you? Does anything in you connect to that, or is it just this appreciation of another human going through this problem?
Yeah, I think it's just empathy.
Okay.
Empathy and compassion. It makes me feel really sad, but I don't see any of myself in him.
It makes you such a better person than me.
I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah.
Because I'm so sad.
Okay. All
Then
right.
you've got something like Fight Club, which is my second favorite film.
Right.
And that obviously is a very different feeling. It makes such great remarks about society. The dialogue is perfect. The violence is really brutal, and that makes me wince at the same time. But I guess it just makes me think about the world in a completely different way. And I felt changed after seeing that movie for the first time.
Wow.
My head just exploded just a little bit. Amelie is another one we were talking about.
I get that.
Oh, yeah, that was so
Yeah.
magical and wonderful and whimsical and
See,
all the cools.
And how I tie that into me is
how?
I tie it in because there's a point in my life, and this is how bad I've become, I think, and a point in my life where my heart was just on my sleeve, and I was all about love and romance, but it may be in a surface fact, but also just there was a whimsy to my heart. Yeah, I think it's been kicked out of it, and it's been on the side of the road somewhere in L.A. But that movie, when one of my friends, a female friend I work with, she was like, "Oh, you got to see that movie." And she looked at me, she was like, "You will love that movie. It's got such a heart." And absolutely, that movie, it brings such joy. It's a flutter in my heart, that movie.
All the good deeds she does. I love the scene when she's walking next to the blind guy, explaining everything that's happening.
Seeing it.
And it's just like, oh, that's so amazing. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm not one of those subtitles that I watch, but it's one of the only subtitled movies I forgot that they're subtitles. You're just so into the movie.
And then you got something like Being John Malkovich.
Okay.
Have you seen
I've
that?
seen that one, and I love it greatly.
I love that film because it's just so weird and strange, and I guess you can imagine yourself in Malkovich's mind. I like all the comments it makes on puppeteering and the puppeteering of people. Very fascinating.
Yeah, I love that one. That also came out, that was 99, right?
Yeah, that
Mance
was
and I talked about
Fight
that last
Club
week. Yeah.
Era,
Great year for
and
movies.
Magnolia and
Yes.
Galaxy Quest,
2 of my favorite movies.
and Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah. Kubrick. I don't understand Kubrick.
Oh, I love Kubrick.
I'm
The
not
Clockwork
saying
Orange is another one of my favorites.
And he's one that I like. I get it. I get why he is who he is. I get it. Personally, I'm just like, I've seen Full Metal Jacket more than any of the other ones. Maybe because I'm a little boy who liked Army growing up. You know what I mean? But so yeah, he's a little bit of a homework assignment for me. Like I feel like I'm watching something in class I have to learn when I'm watching his movies.
Well, Clockwork Orange is another one that really just destroyed me because of the violence, and then how the bad guy isn't really the bad guy in the end, and how they change him and how they make his eyes all wide and make him get. I think I saw the Simpsons episode first before I saw.
Before you went back.
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange. I've seen once, and it was during the film school era. So
Alex DeLarge.
Yeah, probably blocked a lot of it out of my head because I didn't know what I was watching.
A little bit of the old ultra violence.
So again, I'm hearing a lot of empathy you have, and a lot of you're Tracy Flick. You're this smart little studious girl, just without the attitude of Flick.
Yeah.
You're here learning with your clipboard. What else? I want to. This is great. I'm learning about you.
Okay.
Through how you feel through others.
Well, I also rewatched the other day Apocalypse Now.
Okay. Yeah.
The horror. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
that is a film that makes you feel like you're in war. And of course, I hopefully will never experience that in my real life. So I think being able to experience it through the safety of film is somewhat interesting. It makes you feel really discombobulated, really just on the edge of crazy, turning into a madman. And I love Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
So him in that movie, I thought he was incredible.
One of his, he has so many like iconic roles, but absolutely one he's totally like when his name pops up, it's a Godfather, that guy. But his head in that movie, you know what I mean? Like his face, the visual of him just is in my brain.
Oh my gosh! And then you have something like Gentlemen Fur Blondes or Singing in the Rain. Two musicals that I adore, and they both make me so happy. So, Gentlemen Fur Blondes, I'm assuming you haven't seen it?
Yeah, you've assumed correctly.
Okay, well, I don't think many people...
Familiar with it in a pop culture sense.
Yeah, pop culture sense. Marilyn Monroe, that's where Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend is from. But it's two best friends. She's the innocent, wide-eyed one. Then you've got Jane Russell as the sassy best friend, and they go on a cruise ship, and it's just them working their way through men. But it's so funny. It's Howard Hawks who does great comedy, and the music is fantastic. I remember me and my sister were so determined to learn the beginning song and do all the dance moves, and again, it's so glamorous of that era. Singing in the Rain is set in the 20s, even though it was made, I think, in the 50s, and it talks about Hollywood on the cusp of the talkies, and it is really funny. Gene Kelly is fantastic, but it also looks at the behind the scenes of Hollywood, and that I find really fascinating. For someone who is so interested in film, I've never wanted to make a movie, but I find movies about the making of movies interesting.
You discussed that on your recent appearance on Josh McCouga's Between the Sheets, among other things. But I noticed that you just are like, no, I'm an appreciator of it, and you don't want to create, which is kind of in this town. Been in LA now 16 years myself. It's kind of refreshing to see a beautiful young woman be like, no, I don't want to act.
No, I'm terrible. Terrible at acting.
Good.
Oh, at the Edge of Tomorrow press junket, they dressed me up in the... You've seen that, have you?
I've seen it.
Dressed me up in the outfit to do a scene, and it was fun, but I was terrible. I was smiling the whole time. What was I doing?
I wish this was a video show so we could have you reenact your death in that scene.
Oh, I died way too late. It exploded, then 5 seconds later, I died with a smile on my face. Terrible.
Seems like kind of the way you approach life.
Hopeless.
You just put a smile on your face and you get
even when I'm dying.
Yeah, even when you're dying. What was the first really the movie that first really grabbed you in your youth or growing up or even now? What was the first one?
Well, I mean, as I said, I watched a lot of Hitchcock, but I think it wasn't till I started studying film, which was later on at school, when I realized, and it sounds really snobby to say this and sounds like a made-up answer, but it's true, Citizen Kane was the first movie that really made me realize or made me understand the puppeteer behind all the magic, because it was really broken down for you exactly what he did in every shot and how he manipulated your feelings by the way it was edited and the way it was set and the pulling focus and all the new things that he discovered. That to me was like, oh my gosh, a light went off. Like, oh wow, they totally
film as
manipulate.
art, not just
film
entertainment.
As art.
Yeah,
I always loved movies, and I couldn't really put my finger on why or what made one movie different from the others. And I mean, I didn't go to film school, I didn't go to university or anything, but I just set to studying myself and watching as much as I could and reading as many books as I could. That really whet my appetite.
I'm just like picturing this like teenage Alicia in a room piled with books and movies and just like someone knocking on the door. Are you still alive in there?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
That was
Leave me alone.
Every week we'd go down to the video store and my mum would always ask me what she should watch, and she still asks me. She still calls me up today and says, what's on iTunes and I should watch? And I'm like, okay. And I would go and I'd pick out 7 movies for 7 days for $7. So I'd have a huge stack of the VHS tapes, and I would have a mixture of classics and then some new releases and some obscure foreign films in there, and then I would just set to watching them throughout the week. And that was
So
what I preferred, and I didn't want to go out.
You'd give yourself homework assignments.
Yeah. That was all I wanted to do. And then people would say, come out, go to this party. Or,
Come to the Comedy Store patio. We're all drinking, having fun. No.
I'm good.
I'm running a bath and watching a movie.
Yeah, I'm
Drinking
saying.
wine like a classy lady.
That's my ultimate, is having bringing my laptop into the bathroom, setting it on the sink.
Okay,
And
in a
so
safe location.
A safe
Right.
location,
Okay.
away from the bathtub, but so I can still see it while I'm in the bath, drinking
Yeah.
a glass of wine and watching a movie.
Okay, that's your happy spot.
And I watch everything. I give everything a go.
Do you?
Just to see
Okay, then
if I like it or not.
Then what are some classics maybe that other people consider classics that you're like,
One that I always talk about as being kind of a little bit boring
Mm-hmm.
to me is Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
And I know, I can understand why it's a classic. I can
See, now you're in my boat.
Peter
Okay.
O'Toole is great. I've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not into it. Same with
This
Gone
is-
with the Wind. I
Okay.
think we,
This is
did we
you
speak
getting
about
really
this?
catty. This is you getting really catty
This
about
is
classics.
as catty
I
as I
love it.
get.
Yeah.
You know, Gone with the Wind is one that if it's on, I'll be like, yeah, I might just watch something else. It's
Okay.
a little bit long. It has great moments, but it is long.
So is it? Yeah. So I guess I'm trying to find that line that either you cross or don't cross to what connects you to that movie. You know. So I guess it's so.
Sure.
You're not sure. I it's kind of mystical, isn't it? At times.
Yeah,
So that's
it
kind of
is.
like for me too. Just
like-
not with the classics.
Why would I connect to Why would I connect to The Godfather? I have no idea, but
Yeah.
just because it's a great story.
That's a movie about divorce or something, right?
That's right.
Or no, that's Kramer versus Kramer. Yeah. I have friends of mine who swear they're going to harm me greatly because I still haven't seen Godfather.
Whoa!
It took me a long time to see. It's so weird. I actually am obsessed with mob culture in a weird historic kind of way.
Yeah.
And the starting of Vegas and all that kind of stuff. Not a big mob movie guy. I only saw Goodfellas after I arrested Henry Hill.
Oh, really?
I arrested Henry Hill
Did
one night.
you?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And here's how much of
Well,
a
not for him, but yeah.
and may he rest in peace. He passed away later, and it was in bad shape over in Northridge.
What a
But
story.
here, I'll tell you more off air about it. But here's how much of a non-movie fan I was. Me and my friend, who's a police officer, we arrest him, and we're walking back, and he's like, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Henry Hill. I'm Henry Hill, man. I was an Army Ranger. I became this," and he's telling me the story, and I'm like, in my mind, Henry Hill was the first guy Billy the Kid shot in Young Guns.
Yeah.
So I go, "Yeah, congratulations, Billy the Kid shot you in the outhouse. I know who you are, man. That's great." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? I'm Henry Hill." Didn't find out till the next day who he was. And I took a picture of him when he was in handcuffs, and then I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh, and I knew, Ray Liotta for Goodfellas and everything. So it took that for me to watch Goodfellas. So for me to watch Godfather, I don't know what's going to have to happen.
I'm going to chain you to a chair, and then I'm going to use those things in Clockwork Orange, and I'm going to make you watch it.
I'll give you the. I have the handcuffs that I used on Henry Hill.
Yeah,
Maybe you can
okay,
use
I
that.
will use those.
Yeah.
Because recently, of course, you know, I was involved in the Schmoville
Trivia
I didn't
contest
go
against Mark
very well.
Riley.
What my plan was to
go so
study.
well.
No, not at all. What my plan was to study all these guy movies, these action films that I know Christian and Mark are into, and they probably ask questions about. I ended up just rewatching The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2, and Apocalypse Now. So I had good intentions. And recently for AMC Versus, we did an episode of Serenity versus Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And I decided to rewatch Serenity. I got like 20 minutes into it, and I was like, yeah, let's watch Reservoir Dogs again. So
I'm okay with you on that one too.
I like what
And
I like.
I like a lot of Tarantino stuff too. So and that's what's weird about me too. If you go into my movie collection, it's like and JTE, Josh the engineer from Schmoes, always says he's like, the things you have seen puzzle me more than the things you haven't seen.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any
Yeah.
rhyme or reason to it.
I tell you what I do have in there, and you'll appreciate this because I just saw you talk about it. I do have a copy of Spice World.
Yay! Have you watched it, or is it
Several
still
times.
okay? Good.
I've watched that one. Haven't watched The Graduate or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but I have seen Spice World about 3 times.
Do you have the thing where you sit down to watch a movie and you think, I should be watching this serious film, but I might just rewatch a fun movie?
Used to.
Used to, yeah.
I used to, and there just became a point in the early 2000s where it was like, no, I'm just going to watch what I love. And sometimes things stumble into my life, and I love them. I for whatever, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is not a classic by any means, but it's one of my favorite modern comedies and movies. Saw the trailer and was like, I'm going to love that movie.
Yeah.
Stumbled in the theater and saw it. So
you know what you're going to love.
Sometimes it's a little. I don't mean to get weird about it, but it's a little mystical sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I know. My soul's in that.
Yeah.
Recently, I'm rewatching it right now again and again. It's probably about the 10th time I've seen it. Is Up in the Air. Jason Reitman, I think, did a great job with the book. I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, but that movie was written in the key of my soul, hands down.
Yeah, I related to that film as well because you travel so much with work, and everyone thinks it's super glamorous, but the reality is you're in a hotel room by yourself.
That's where I attached myself to the movie. It was him at the end, alone, going, "What do I do?" Yeah, that's my life.
Mine too.
So it's there. Like, I'm not opposed to this.
I'm alone with my bath movies.
Well, yeah, but by choice. By choice. It's not that we weren't calling you. No, I get it.
That's true.
I know, but I'm like that too. I for a long time, I'd rather stay home and watch Lord of the Rings, and I'm attracted to those movies because of the epic moral lesson nature of those. I just love epics in that regard. So that's what attracts me to that more than the action figures. But that doesn't hurt. What else? Give me, like, where am I to start? Where? Okay, we're going to start the show. And by the way, if anyone out there listening, fans of the Napzok Files or fans of Schmoes Know, and you're on the Schmoville page, you can play along too. Tweet me at Ken Napzok and include at Alicia Malone, and see if you want Alicia to teach me about film. Where do you want her to start? That's what I want to hear.
Well, I've got in front of me the list of top 100 films.
Of course you do.
According to, this is the Hollywood Reporter.
It's on your little rabbit ears phone.
Yeah, and I have watched 98 out of 100 of these.
Oh, God bless you, child.
Which will be remedied soon, so it'll be the full 100. And then I've highlighted ones that I haven't seen in a long time and need to rewatch.
Okay.
Number 1 is The Godfather. So I really believe that we should start there.
Okay.
I really think that is such a classic movie, and I totally think you're going to love it.
Okay, that's a fair prediction.
Everything
I think
I know about you.
About me? About the way I like suits and killing people in bathrooms with guns or something weird?
The way you hold out your hand and then we all just kiss it, because you're the pit boss.
That's how every Schmoes and Schno movie show starts.
Exactly.
Every
so I think we should start there.
Okay.
And then number 2 on this list is The Wizard of Oz.
But I've seen that.
You've seen that.
I've seen that
we
one.
can. Citizen Kane. Have you seen that one?
It's been a very long time.
Yeah. The Shawshank Redemption.
That sounds like you probably want me to start there.
I really want you
because
to see
here's
that
the thing: if I watch that and I'm like, you're probably like, get out, done. This show's over. We're not doing it anymore.
No, I think I will be fascinated to hear why.
Hear why?
Yeah, I'll just be like, but tell me why.
But if I end up bawling my eyes out crying, I'm going to blame you for what you've done to my soul.
I will come by with some whiskey.
Okay.
And I'll save you.
That's good. All right. So what? 2 more.
Okay.
Keep going down the list.
All right. Keep going.
Who knows what
I like this list because it's less hardcore than the AFI list.
AFI one.
So number 5 is Pulp Fiction, which I've seen. I love that movie. I just want to watch that again actually when I get home. Casablanca, number 6.
Okay.
You really do have to see that. The Godfather Part 2 follows on from The Godfather.
What if I was just to start with 3 and work my way back?
Okay. So I would say I want you to see The Godfather.
Okay.
I want you to see Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
And I want you to see Casablanca.
So that's the first.
Those 3 is what I would love to see, and I want to hear what you have to say about them.
Okay. Oh, no. I want this to be clear. You're going to sit there and watch these movies with me so you can take notes about my reaction to them.
Any excuse to watch these again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not convincing you of something you don't want to do here. I'm just, because if you say, you saw the other night after Schmoes, Josh the intern hands me a documentary like the AFI Top 100, and I grabbed it, said thanks, and I threw it on the ground.
Yeah.
Once someone at work, my day job said, hey, you got to see the movie. You never seen Friday? And I was like, no, never seen it. I'm going to get it to you. That's okay, man. It's okay. I'm sure it's funny, dude. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's everything it's supposed to be. Get it.
But I'm good.
So one day he shows up and he hands it to me. And I put it in the trash and I left work.
Oh, no.
knowing he'd find it in 5 minutes, but he yelled at me quite greatly for that. Sorry, Bruce, I apologize.
But you feel ready now to
I feel ready.
explore.
My point is, if you just hand me a stack of DVDs and
You
say,
won't
see
do
you in
it.
a week, nope, I'm going to rewatch Game of Thrones.
Okay, I will sit you down
Yeah.
and I will put it on
And
I will watch you with like my
Yeah.
chin
just little,
in my hands.
little, like a little bunny, like your little phone there, just
Are you
watching.
liking it?
Yeah.
Are you liking it?
And you will become a hero to all the people in Schmoville who've been tweeting me for a couple years now to see a lot of these movies.
Great.
I almost saw Gremlins.
You almost did. Do you feel like one of my friends in Australia, he takes a hard line on movies. So some of them, for no reason at all, he's just like, nope, I'm never seeing that movie. I am putting the hard line on it. I'm never seeing it. Do you feel that way with Gremlins, or you're open to seeing it?
No, I'm open to it. That one particularly I cite a lot because it was a movie I was not allowed to see as a child. Mm-hmm. Because of how I was raised in a certain home, and I talked about that ad nauseum in other arenas. But so I wasn't allowed. And then when you get older, it's just kind of not part of your life.
If you miss something when you're young, you often don't come back to it.
But a lot of my friends, including our editor-in-chief of schmoesno.com, Mark Riley, like, you gotta. JTE was like, you have got to, and you will. Here is a copy, Blu-ray. And we're okay, man. Another friend of ours, Miss Movies, who, if you ever talked with her on Twitter, she hadn't seen it either because we had similar upbringings. And so we were like, well, let's make a thing of it. We'll watch it one day. I had this thing almost a full calendar year in my room. Finally had to give it back to him. I said, dude, I haven't watched it. I was about to over the holidays because it's kind of a Christmas movie, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Allegedly?
It is a Christmas movie. It's set at Christmas time. It's just a little warm.
Right. CinemaSins, who I love over there on YouTube, they did a CinemaSins on Gremlins.
Yeah, I saw that.
Watched it and went, I'm good.
I'm not going to see it.
And handed it back to Josh the next week.
No, you have to see it just for Phoebe Cates' really dark story she tells about Christmas. It's so
That's
weird.
what I hear.
It's weird.
That's what I hear. But for me, I'd rather see Drop Dead Fred again.
Yeah.
Than if I'm going to go to the Phoebe Cates canon
I
or
think
catalog.
It does depend on what you saw when you were young.
It does a lot. And I get that maybe I'm not so, but I'm not taking hard line on it.
Okay, good.
I would see it, and I'd see anything you threw in front of me at least once. But it's hard to explain. It's just I don't have a lot of time for movies. I enjoy the movie experience going to a movie theater. Mm-hmm. However, like I just saw Guardians of the Galaxy along with one of the Schmoes website writers, Joe Rusciarello, and we went to ArcLight, and I love ArcLight. It's a good experience. It takes away my anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety going to theaters because I'm like, oh, are we going to get a good seat? Who's going to be behind me?
Oh, really?
And it was on a Monday night. I didn't think it would be that crowded, but it was crowded, and I was so uncomfortable. And no one was being horrible. There wasn't kids and everything, but it just the people coming in late. The first scene of the movie's going, and people are still like, we're over here. We're number 18. Popcorn. I'm like, this is why I don't watch movies. This is why I don't do it. So I have a little trouble with the experience of going.
Me and Scott Mance talk about how much we love going to a cinema and that moment when the lights go down and you're starting the movie and you don't know what you're in for. I love that moment.
I love it too for what.
But it's just the people around you sometimes.
I can get involved. Look for things I love, as bad as they were. Being there at the midnight showings for the prequels was awesome.
Yeah, to have that experience, that is definitely a shared, because it's one of the last shared experiences we have.
It is.
Return
of the King in 2000, was that 4 or 5? No, 2003 for Return of the King. Had that experience, because Two Towers I'd seen and didn't know what to expect because I had missed Fellowship and caught up and was like, why? How did I miss this? I'm an idiot. I never read the books and blah, blah, blah. So Return of the King, that almost adrenaline / nervous feeling when the movie starts, you're like, what am I in for? And I totally know what you mean with that.
Yeah.
I just only have it for certain movies. It seems as you have it for every single movie.
And even if it's terrible, I will stay to the end. I won't walk out. But I do get anxious about the seating because I like to have an aisle seat just in case. I don't know why. I just like to, in case I need to run out, in case I need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I get anxiety about being in the center and sort of locked into one seat.
Do you mind being far, or do you need to be close?
I like to be middle, not too close, but not too far
All
either.
right. If we ever find ourselves going to a movie together, we'll be all right. We just have to compromise a little bit on the distance.
Okay.
I am usually, if you go to a movie theater and you're like, who's the weird dude in the far corner?
That's you.
That's me, up and above, because my knee cramps up. I need some space.
Yeah.
I'll take a wall seat because I know no one's going to be behind me.
Yeah, I hate, because you know me, I'm super polite. I hate inconveniencing people, so I hate doing this. Excuse me, sorry,
Sorry,
and like have to go there and then have to do it on the way back. I actually have to steel myself outside the doors before I come back into a movie. If I'm in the middle, it's like, okay, Alicia, you can do this. Just be quick, be fast.
Have a plan of attack.
Yep, just don't hurt anyone, don't trip over anything, you'll be fine.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's why I have a lot of problem. I go to movies by myself 98% of the time.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't. Some of my nightmares have been like friends getting seats and like picking the middle. I'm like, oh no, I can't. But I can't say no. I can't be the jerk of the group of 10 who are seeing this movie. My ex-girlfriend, if a movie started at 8. Well, let's start leaving at about 7:50. I'm like, no, I would have already been there at 7:25.
I like the previews. I like to be settled. I also don't like going with anyone that I'm not sure will be open to the movie. I kind of like with you seeing classic films, that'd be a different thing. But me sitting in a theater with someone who I'm like, oh, are they having a good time? Are they enjoying it? I'm so worried about them.
You feed
off
your
time.
own anxiety for them.
Yeah. I'm just worried that they're not having a good time if I've suggested the movie.
I do that. I've done that at live comedy shows. My friend performs over the Groundlings, and I've brought in some friends, and it's like I can sense maybe they're not having as good a time as I am.
Moving, or the worst, if they look at their phone, you're like, oh no, and you're also embarrassed because then other people are like, put your phone away. Right. You don't want to be that person with that friend.
Absolutely.
There's a lot that goes into seeing a movie.
There really is. There really is. And that's why I go like Monday matinees. It backfired once. Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
Okay. So between 99 and 2002, I used to see a lot of movies. And I'd go on Mondays, my day off, and I'd go to the Pacific Theaters over in Winnetka, California, where I once got heat stroke waiting for Phantom Menace tickets.
Oh my gosh.
And I went in to see Anywhere But Here, which is Natalie Portman, Susan Sarandon. Like, cool. I like Portman. Down. Seems like a good, heartwarming story. I like strong female characters. I actually really do.
Yes,
I always have. I've written a lot of them, too, in my past. I go on a Monday afternoon. I get my ticket. It's weird enough when a dude by himself's like, one for Anywhere But Here, please. Eat my tuna sandwich at the little restaurant that I used to go to. I had a routine, Alicia.
Yes.
And I turned the corner, and it was a school holiday.
Oh, no.
So the theater was packed with nothing but moms and daughters.
Oh, no.
And I literally, not joking, not exaggerating, let history tell me that I am true. I was the only man in the theater at the time. And I had to walk up while everyone looked to the seat on like the far corner.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Big fan of Natalie Portman. That's why I'm here. How you doing?
My girlfriend's on the way. I'm not by myself.
But that never happened.
No.
Yeah. And right before the movie started, another dude walked in. I wanted to be like, hey, dude, it's okay. Empty seat here.
Yeah, I'm over here.
Backfired there.
I never get worried about being by myself, though, at movies. I never worry like, oh, it's a Saturday night, I should be with someone. I'm like, no, I'm cool.
No, I like that.
Watch a movie.
Can you function like that normally too? Can you go to a restaurant by yourself?
Totally.
Yeah.
I actually sometimes prefer it too.
Yeah.
I take a book, or I just, you have your phone. There's so much to do, or even just sitting and observing people. I'm never anxious about that. I'm never lonely.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine when I'm by myself.
Right.
But one thing that I do want to say that I love about the movie experience here in America is how loud people get and how they yell things at the screen. Sometimes,
you like that?
Sometimes I love it with certain movies.
For certain movies, okay.
That it makes it more fun.
Other countries, not so much.
No. But other times, not so much. Australia is pretty quiet when it comes to movies, so they don't really talk to the screen. And something I found really weird when I moved over here was the clapping at the end. I didn't quite get.
Really?
It's like, who are you clapping?
Who are you clapping to?
Projectionists back there. Like,
I think it's just a shared experience, but I've always wondered that too.
Now I like it. Now I'm like, go movie.
We all
saw
enjoyed that,
something
right?
good. People are enjoying it. But at the time, I was like, there's no one here. They don't know that you're cheering.
It's a cultural. Clapping's a cultural thing, meaning either you do it or don't. Like in professional wrestling, if you go to Japan and you wrestle and you're really good and the crowd loves you, it's completely silent.
It's respectful.
Yeah, it's like and a lot of wrestlers over the years have had to learn that. Like, oh my God, I failed. No one. And they're like, no. That means they loved you because they just wanted to sit and watch you work.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I would never have thought that. I guess it is a strictly American that would be loud, rude, and clap at nothing.
Very, very loud. Australians are pretty quiet and pretty reserved, and we don't want to appear overly enthusiastic.
Well, that's
the thing.
Just as a country,
yeah, it's like
as a nation,
it's like you don't want to appear super enthusiastic or super unenthusiastic. Just want to be in the middle. Be like, yep, it's cool.
That's I've never thought of you guys. I wouldn't think of. Usually, we've been taught horribly, probably, to think that you want to open up a can of Foster's and yell at a kangaroo. That's That's why all of us annoying Americans treat you so weird over here. And really, as a nation, you're like, oh, we're quiet.
Like, we're cool, we're quiet. I find it interesting when you're somewhere and you're seeing different people doing stand-ups, pieces to camera. I remember being in Rio for Fast 5 junket, and that's where I met Tiffany Smith for the first time. That was years ago. And we all stood outside so we could all see each other doing our pieces to camera. We had took turns with this one camera. And I noticed that the Americans were so enthusiastic. Like, oh my God, we're here at Rio, Fast 5. So excited. And then the English were like, yeah, whatever, we're here, it's cool.
No big whoop.
Whatever. And then Australians were kind of in the middle.
In the middle.
Like, yeah, we're excited, but not too excited. Calm down. I mean, it's really cool that we're here.
We're not sure if we're here excited.
We're all right. I find that really fascinating.
That's a great observation. I didn't know that. I can assume that Americans are the louts of the world. But.
And the few shows that I do that are on American TV proper, I'm always told, up the energy, the energy. And I feel like I'm yelling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this movie. But when you watch it back, I barely match the energy of the hosts.
Right. In your head, you're like, I really stretched that one today.
And that's natural for them. That's their natural level.
Right.
But for me, it's like, oh my God, it takes everything. And I'm exhausted afterwards.
Maybe I do well in other countries because this is more like, this is how my hands are currently resting. My face is resting in my hand.
Yeah, you do well in Australia.
I'm just kind of casual, calm.
Yeah, laid back.
I don't get too up. I do have a temper, but it comes out when it comes out, run away, but it doesn't come out once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm very calm and collected. Maybe you're teaching, maybe not only do I need to watch movies, I need to move. Goodbye.
Come down to Australia, mate.
Yeah.
You love it.
Absolutely. As long as I can run into Natalie and Bruley on the street, but I think she lives out here now.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen her before at a restaurant.
Get out of here.
I was like, in Bruley. Oh.
All right. Give me an address after. Okay.
Yeah.
You have so many things to get to in your life. I don't want to keep you for too long, and I feel we could talk about movies that affect you for a long time, but I got Shawshank. I got some of these ones. I want to know, give me two other ones that we can talk about that really, really
all right,
are go-to movies for your soul.
For my soul.
Alicia, Bugsy, dig deep.
Okay, let me have a look because I wrote down a bunch for things. Oh, well, one that I spoke about a little while ago in Profiles when we did our first episode and we talked about Spielberg is Jaws.
Right.
I remember
I've seen your T-shirt.
Jaws. Yes, I have 2 T-shirts of Jaws. I just considered recently buying a third. Then I was like, no, calm down. Maybe buy a different movie. But Jaws, for me, just that sense of fear that was created by that movie. And it fascinates me that it's so scary, similar to Hitchcock. It's so scary, but you don't actually see that much.
Right.
That when you see the shark, it's not that scary. You can tell it's a mechanical shark. Sure. It's huge. It's just ridiculous. But all the moments leading up to it and that music, it just gives you that palpable sense of fear, and I think that's why it's so timeless. Have you seen Jaws? No?
Most of it.
Oh my gosh.
And the largest selection of it came recently because my roommate was watching it, and I'm being honest here, Bugsy, as we call you in Schmoes off air. I sat down and was like, I should probably watch this for Alicia. And I sat down and watched a large chunk of it.
Yeah.
And then I had to go.
Yep.
And I was familiar with it before, this and that, but I can honestly say I was enthralled, and I was like, oh, crap, I've got to leave, but I don't want to.
Good.
So I passed that test.
Good.
All right. It's because of the storytelling, the anticipation more than the actual fear being realized, and it's great storytelling in that regard, and I totally get that.
And Jaws reminds me a lot of Psycho. Hitchcock, because again, same thing, what you don't see is scarier than what you do, and it's got that whole anticipation, the lead up. Psycho is one of the first big twists that you didn't really see coming, both at the end and midway through.
What a twist. Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen Psycho?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a film
good.
school. That's a film school statistic.
Yeah, I remember studying the storyboard of like how it gets closer to the eye, and then the eye becomes the drain. Mm-hmm. So clever. So I love that one, and also one that I watch every single Christmas time, and this one never fails to make me cry at the end, and it makes me so happy.
Oh no,
okay, no, not Hans Gruber in Die Hard. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jimmy Stewart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the last 3 years, I've seen that movie in a cinema in New York, where they always play it, and the line at the end where it says, "No man is a failure who has friends," that kills me.
Gets you.
When all his friends come together to give him money, oh my god.
Oh, you get a little tear.
That makes me teary.
I get it. You like to feel.
I like to feel, but I don't cry in as many movies as you might think. Recently, I saw a film called If I Stay, which stars Chloe Moretz.
Right.
It's based on a book. Her character, I'm not giving anything away because it's in the trailer, her character ends in a car accident and goes into a coma. Meh.
You didn't
cry at all.
Didn't cry.
Nah, felt nothing. But then movies like that will make me
What's
cry.
the biggest in-theater cry you've had? And then I'll share mine.
It surprised me, this one, because I'm not usually into mushy romances, but The Notebook.
Gotcha. The classic.
The Notebook got me.
You know what's funny? That's in my room in the cellophane.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Yeah. A woman bought that for me.
I am not one to advocate Nicholas Sparks movies, but that one, the storytelling.
I can see that.
And the twist, which I won't give away if you haven't seen it, just it got me right in my
Unfortunately,
feels.
I think I know the twist because I just know pop culture enough to where I think
that's
I've known
the trouble.
Yeah.
What's yours?
It's a weird. It's not weird. I stand by it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not guilty. It's not a guilty pleasure feeling anything. But it's out there. I blubbered uncontrollably. Like we're talking snot, sniffles, like Mr. Holland's Opus.
Oh yeah, that got you. Why that one out of all the films?
Of all of them?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. And so I think that movie came out in '97.
We'll ask Scott Mance, he'll know. He'll know.
Mance, what day was it released? What was the weather like in Detroit? What was the weather like in Philly? It came out of time. I guess I could say I have an old soul, but that's too romantic of a phrase to just say that I've just always been kind of a pessimistic, bitter a-hole.
No.
So in '97, I was in radio, and I wanted to be a writer, and I was going to move to LA to do sketch comedy and all that stuff. And so I had my hopes and dreams. But I just always feared it would never work out. So Mr. Holland's Opus is about a man taking 30 years to accept that his dreams didn't work out, but he got what he wanted.
Ooh.
Just in spite of it all. And so that journey, and you're on that journey, and I was fine. I was watching it. His son's deaf. Yeah, it's great. Blah blah blah. And then at the end, where he retires, he's forced in retirement, and they play his opus that he'd been working on from the time he was in his early 20s. Lost it. Lost it, shaking, crying.
Oh, gosh.
And I'd seen it with my parents and a couple of their friends, and I've cried on air at my radio station before. I'm not afraid to cry in public. I was uncontrollable. Like,
wow.
Like, it was disgustingly bad.
Another one that really got me was actually the first film I ever saw in cinemas. I remember it very vividly. It's one I don't like watching again because of this reason. Never-ending Story.
The never-ending story.
When the horse was in the mud.
In the mud.
I started screaming and crying because I love horses. And I went underneath the seat, and then Mum had to drag me out, so I couldn't watch the rest of the movie because I was so embarrassing.
And you still haven't seen it?
And I have, but
okay.
I dislike it just on
because
principle.
Of that? Yeah,
I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like feeling like this.
You don't like? It's totally different. But I've never watched The Dark Crystal after my childhood because the characters in The Dark Crystal so freaked me out, and the woman with the eyeball, that I haven't gone back to watch it as an adult. And if I see it on TV or something pops up or a picture, I'm like, I'm out, done, move.
Yeah, I don't like Never-ending Story.
Just because of that, because of the tragedy of the horse.
Yes, I don't like that film at all. But it is, I do like movies that make me feel, but surprisingly few movies actually make me cry.
Interesting. So yeah, you like the journey. Again, that might speak a little bit to I connect to things that really, really are about me, and you want to go on another person's journey.
Exactly.
Which of course means that we've learned here today, Alicia's a better human than me.
Not at all.
Well, we could talk for a long time, but we're going to be talking more about movies later on if we do this show. Somehow, some way, we're going to put this together.
Yes. Can we please get Schmoville to let us know if this is something you'd like to see? I'm really excited by this possibility, but I remember speaking to Christian about it, and he was not so sure that it would work because he thinks some movies would do well and then other movies no one would be actually interested in hearing about, but
You
don't
disagree?
believe that. Yeah.
Look, we'll find some way to do it, even if we show it on MySpace, on our own, on our Commodore 64s or somehow. We'll get it done. I think Alicia's Film School, Alicia Teaches Ken about movies. I think a lot of people would get behind.
That'd be great. We could involve Schmoville. They could watch it at the same time we are, and we could tweet along.
Right.
You know, I've always wanted to do that.
We'll work it out.
Okay.
I want to learn from you.
Yay.
Ms. Malone. I want to learn.
I would love to see the films through new eyes.
Absolutely.
And that's you.
Yes, they're old failing eyes, but they're new to you in terms of movies. Well, it has been a joy talking to you. Seriously, I'm going to make you feel slightly uncomfortable. You are one of the best byproducts of me being a schmo, getting to know people like you, Scott, Tiffany, but you are one of my favorites. You are such a pro, and I love your enthusiasm for what you are doing. It's great to watch, and I love getting to know you through this process. And that's why I think I sat down and watched Jaws for like 10 more minutes than I ever had in my life. It's like I really need to do it for Bugsy.
Well, I would like to return the favor and say that thanks to you guys and all the schmoes for embracing me into your little family and really making me feel like part of the team straight away, and also being there for me when I had some tough times personally recently. Just felt like you all have my back. And that is great.
You're part of the team. Team
so
Schmo.
Lovely. Yeah.
We will kill for you if we need to. Or just give you a nice hug or slip whiskey into your glass.
Yes,
that's what we're here for. So Alicia's on so many things in life. So to make it easy, you can go to her website.
MalonesMovieMinute.com or just follow me on Twitter at Alicia Malone and you will be able to keep up with everything.
Right, and the thing we're so excited for right now is Profiles on the Schmoes Know Network with Manson Malone. I love your guys' logo.
Yeah.
What are some of the profiles you got coming up that you're going to be talking about? Do you know yet?
Oh, we don't know. We've written down a ton, and I would love to do Brando.
Gotcha.
Because I also want to do actors as well as filmmakers. And I would love, because I love classics, I would love to go old school and do Frank Capra and do, you know, like Howard Hawks and all those people, as well as, of course, we'll talk about Martin Scorsese, we'll talk about Stanley Kubrick, we'll talk about all the greats. And I'm so excited. I get to geek out.
Yeah,
this is the best.
This is your version of geeking out.
This is my
It's not
version
just
of
about
geeking
capes
out.
and superheroes.
Not at all.
This is it. I love it.
This is me.
I love it. The show's doing great, and maybe I'll start to learn just from that too.
Yeah, well, I've started to learn about Star Wars by listening to Jedi Alliance.
That's right. That's right. You can find the Jedi Alliance on the Schmoes Know Network and Profiles and Meet the Movie Press and Guilty Pleasures and all the shows. You can subscribe there on YouTube/Schmoes Know Podcast or go to schmoesknow.com and check the podcast section. Like Alicia said, you can follow her at Twitter at Alicia Malone and Malone's Movie Minute. You can also see her doing Tick Tick Boom, something I watched before I even really met you. You guys had just started it, but I was like, yep,
nice.
We need to get these two girls involved in Schmoville.
Yeah.
Tick Tick Boom with Maud Garrett as well, who of course is my co-host for Jedi Alliance, and we're having fun there. So also don't forget to find the Napzok Files on Facebook. Like us there. Follow me on Twitter at Ken Napzok if you want to learn all about my miserable existence. And you can find us on iTunes, and do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review. It keeps the shows alive. And until next time, Alicia, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
Thanks for having me.
I know you got about 2 more outfit changes left in your day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get you on your way. And for the rest of you Napzok Files, thanks for listening. We will see you next time.